We're going to try to get this thing started. We have adult ed graduation this evening at I think 6:45. We'd like to, some of us would like to attend that graduation. I would like to respectfully request of those making their presentations that you do everything you can to keep the presentation to around 15 minutes. We would appreciate that very much.
To succeed in every area of their life.
Dr. Aguilar, you have any opening comments?
No, sir.
Building healthy habits and developing positive character traits. As parents, we
Hearing
understand
none, the first item on the agenda is consideration of Athlos Academy charter application. Do we have the group from Athlos Academy? You have the floor.
our family is grateful to Athlos for giving our children the tools they need to succeed in every area of their life.
Look, push that little button on the mic, and when the little green light comes on,
How about now? Is that better? Hi, sorry about that. I'm Caitlin Scales, representative from Athlos Academy, is the education service provider that the local board is partnering with. So I'm just going to start our presentation by saying thank you so much for having us here. We felt like the best way to start our presentation for y'all is to show you what a day in the life is like at an Athlos school. So bear with us for just a couple minutes, and then I'll let our board members speak.
At an early age, Athlos emphasizes academics, building healthy habits, and developing positive character traits. As parents, we understand that these values start at home. We build infrastructure for our children's success. But to have a school system embrace that and reinforce these values, it just builds that moral foundation for our children. To me, that is an incredible blessing. I truly believe the possibilities for their future are endless.
Hi, I'm Alexia Serrata. I'm 11 years old and I attend school at Athos Leadership Academy. Oh, I love Athos in so many ways. Character traits, I think, are my favorite part of Athos. So many character traits that people can jump into and learn. You know, social intelligence, having courage, having a lot of humility, integrity. I think that's performance character to me. Last year I ran for student council president. I was excited. I wanted to run, but I was also nervous. I had to tell myself, hey, Alexia, use courage, get up there, be calm. Healthy body is making better choices. I think a healthy body equals a healthy mind, and a healthy mind equals a great lifestyle. We have athletic conditioning. Movement prep is one of my favorite parts in there. We do squats, bear crawls. We do a lot of different exercises that other schools may not do, which is totally fine. But I think with our school, they just get you so prepared for the day, prepared for life, prepared to succeed in life. Having a prepared mind is it's amazing to have a prepared mind. You get to learn different things, and I think that's what's extremely important in life.
Yeah, we're big believers on the philosophical foundation that the school has laid for them, has enabled them to grow not only as students, but as persons as well.
Well, we believe a healthy body, a prepared mind, and performance character that just fosters academic success. For Athlos to be able to teach that to our children is really, really a big blessing to us and to any family that attends Athlos Leadership Academy.
Okay, I'll turn it over to Josh Lesage here.
Hi. When members of your community approached me about having a local charter school effort here, they had lots of criteria in choosing a partner. I'll let our president and board president speak to this later, but one of the main selling points for the partner they've chosen, Athlos Academy, is that they have a three-pillar approach to education. They feel like that we talk a lot about a well-rounded education or educating the whole child, but many times we fail to do that. So for those of you who are not familiar with the model, Athlos has a prepared mind, healthy body, and performance character piece. There are charter schools across the nation who have success maybe in their home state, maybe in some other states, and they have a very cookie-cutter approach to what they think will work in Louisiana. And unfortunately, we have seen some of that not go so well for our children. And so one of the things that attracted me to Athlos as the consultant for the board, and one of the things that attracted them, is that while Athlos does have instructional materials that they use in Texas and Arizona and Utah and Minnesota that work well, they are not so prescriptive. They don't micromanage, for lack of a better term, that they do have math and ELA curriculum, science and social studies, but they work hand in hand with the board and the educational experts on the board, and we do have a very impressive board, to discuss what resources that the board would like to use for education. So when you talk about the the prepared mind, obviously it's a school and all models have their academic selling points. Certainly Athlos does, but one reason for a type 1 is that they endeavor to work not only with their board, and of course the school belongs to the board, not to Athlos, but also with you guys to see what you're doing that's working and to share resources as much as possible. But their academic results across the nation are impressive, and one thing that impressed me and the board is while they do have a solid plan, they are flexible, and the board certainly has the ultimate determination about what academic resources are used. When it comes to the healthy body pillar, this really is, I think, what sets Athlos apart. They have 576 scripted lesson plans that they use. These are all scientifically based. I don't pretend to know what I don't know. I don't have a master's degree in kinesiology. But right now, the state of Tennessee, their governor is in partnership with Athlos to present to their legislature at the next session to make this prescriptive physical activity lesson plan mandatory for all schools in the state of Tennessee. It's very impressive. I had the privilege of visiting a school in Brownsville, Texas that is 88% free and reduced lunch, 99.5% Hispanic, and I watched this athletic piece in motion, and it works like clockwork. So what it is, just as children have different levels of learning that are appropriate cognitively, right? You learn to read and write before you learn to find adjectives and adverbs. Our bodies work the same way. So these 576 research-based scripted lesson plans for health, fitness, and physical activity work with children at different ages because research tells us what is most appropriate for a 5-year-old to be able to do athletically, and a 6-year-old and a 7-year-old all the way up through the gamut. So it's very impressive. There's a lot of research that's been done about the connection between physical activity and academic achievement. Some of you on the board, I'm sure, are familiar with Kagan strategies and other things that we do in schools to get kids moving and learning. And so in addition to the physical activity piece that is research-driven that will help our children become healthy adults, in the classroom there are scripted movement breaks. And it sounds very simple, but we know that when we move our body, it's healthy for all parts of our body, right? Because the blood flows where your head's connected to your body. And so research tells us that sitting still in a classroom for hours and minutes at a time is not good for children. So they have a very prescriptive program by which teachers are taught to stop instruction and take a 30-second to a minute and a half break and do activities for children to stimulate their learning so they can sit back down and be most productive. Spark is a great book written by a neurosurgeon who's done longitudinal research in this area. I would encourage you as a board to Google that if you're not familiar. And then finally, the performance character piece is very impressive. Now, most school districts have some type of performance character piece, and I happen to be a fan of what you do here in the district in some of your schools. But what's different about this approach for me as an educator is that most schools and school systems typically tend to separate their academic component, and if we're baking a cake, the character piece is like icing that sits on the top. It's just something that we do. We spend a few minutes in homeroom, we may have meetings after school, but at Athlos, the best way to explain it is these 12 character traits, and I saw it in action in Brownsville, Texas, is interwoven into everything that the school does. It's interwoven into your 4 content subject areas on the turf. They're constantly referring to these 12 areas of social intelligence that really help our children to become more well-rounded individuals. And we all know that character is very, very important. So if there's nothing else about that piece, I'd like to introduce the board president, Sky Rarito.
Good evening, everyone. What? That's fine. My name is Sky Rito. For those of you who don't know me, I want to start off by telling you a little bit about me and why I think that Athlos is important to Lafayette. I'm a product of the public school system. I was born and raised in Carencro, Louisiana. I'm a proud graduate of Carencro High School, Go Golden Bears. Actually, Dr. Aguilar was my principal when I was a student at Carencro High School. So I really believe in the power of education and what it can actually do for a student and how it can transform their lives. What we want to do here today with Athlos in partnership with the district is provide opportunities for students to have different avenues to become successful, right? There are different ways that we can all be successful, and we just feel that this model is so innovative. It incorporates body, it incorporates mind, it incorporates character, and a lot of those things are not evident right now in the school systems that the kids that we are trying to serve have access to. And that is what is important. We are here to serve children. We are here to provide them a quality education, to ensure that every single person who lives in Lafayette Parish has access to the same level of education, the same level of teachers, the same level of academic performance. We want to make sure that they all have access to those things. And that is what makes this so important to us as a board. That is why we came together. That is why we partnered with Athlos. And then the other part that I really want to talk about is why Lafayette, right? I actually was in the military for 7 years. I left here. I told my mom, I said, I am never coming back to Lafayette. Lafayette has nothing for me. I don't want to be here. My last tour of duty was in San Diego, California. And after my last tour of duty, when I was honorably discharged, something pulled me back to Lafayette, because Lafayette is my home. And if I want to affect change on a local level, if I want to sit here and say that it is my duty, I am honor bound by God to transform the community in which I come from, then I have to be and live and work and perform in the community in which I was born and raised in. So that is why I chose Lafayette. It is more so that Lafayette actually chose me. And I am excited to be here. I'm excited to partner with these people. I'm excited to bring this innovative model to our parish, to work in partnership with this board here and see how we can partner together to set a precedent in Lafayette. We know that there are a lot of different districts, there are a lot of states, there are a lot of counties who work in partnership with Type 1 charters. And the board is working with the charter school to provide something different, something innovative, something important to the community, to the population in which we are trying to serve. And that is exactly what our board wants to do. We want to work with you guys. Let us be the standard in America, not just in a state, not just in a parish, but in the country, for what it looks like when a school board and a charter school work together to provide education for students in our community. And I could go on and on and on about my passion for this, you guys. I know you can see it, but I really love this community and I love these kids, and I just want to make sure that they have the same access to opportunity that everyone else has. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it off to my equally passionate Vice Chair, Lauren, and I'll let him tell you a little bit more about why he serves on this board as well.
Thank you, Skyra. Thank you, board. Great to be with you here today. My name is Lauren Carrier. I'm the executive director of Hope for Opelousas. And so I'm an educator, but I work with that after-school program there. And so I would say I'm involved in community development. So I'm giving my life to serve kids that are underserved, under-resourced. I'm a UL grad in 2005, and just excited to see. So why Lafayette? I think as Lafayette goes, so Acadiana goes. And I believe that there are struggles that go on for some people of the community in Lafayette that other members of our community don't face. I think there are kids that live in certain communities that the parents can't get up and move them to community to have a better option for their kid to go to school, at a school that's not underperforming. So I believe that school choice is an important thing. I think it's almost like a right that needs to be there for the kids and the families that have no other choice. You might be able to move to a different neighborhood. Some of these parents can't. And so I believe that it's important for us to consider that and figure out how to make those kind of things work. I think Athlos is a model. Why Athlos? I will tell you, Athlos has a model that's exciting and innovative, and it's working. I think that it's a good business move to get outside help and to employ people that are successful to put them in the position to succeed. And I think that's just good business. And so I think that the Athlos model, you've heard my friends talk about some of the innovative approach to it. I'll tell you, for kids that are struggling in school, it's very, very important for them to be drawn to go to school. Dropout rates don't happen just in high school. It's not an issue that's affecting only high school kids. It's exciting, and I'm excited to hear news this week about Lafayette Parish being interested in working with a charter school. And I think it's great to address dropout rates at high school levels. But if you think that you don't need to deal with the source of that problem, kids being engaged in school and not being lost early, then I don't think you're going to fix the problem. And so I think the model that we're offering through Athlos is unique, and it can work with the demographic that we want to serve. And so I think partnerships are important. And so why Type 1? We're here because we think Lafayette is progressive enough to understand how important this can be. That this decision cannot be just based on dollars and cents. Yeah, some budgets might need to be rethought, but that this could be a new, innovative approach that can serve the kids of the parish. So I really hope and pray that you would consider this deeply today. And is there any other comments? Thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you. Do we have any questions from any members of the board? Mr. Centeni?
Laptop maybe?
I will speak loudly. One of the main concerns that our evaluator had was on location. On that front?
Should be that, okay. Yes.
So we have been in conversations with Holy Rosary School to potentially put the school there, but we are also open to working with the district and with the school board to decide what you think is the best location to serve the kids in this community who need it most.
Can you talk about your success in the state of Louisiana?
In the state of Louisiana, our success is honestly an approval for the West Bank and Jefferson. We have not launched a school here yet, and so we're just looking forward to the opportunity to bring our schools here. So we will be launching Jefferson Parish next year, pending construction timelines.
And that was your first application with the state?
With this, yeah, within Louisiana, yes.
And what, your application calls for 900 initially, 900 students initially, and to ramp up to 1,200.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, how low can you go?
How low can you go? It's limbo.
I understand, I asked that, understanding that there is a financial business model that makes it work,
Yes.
right, to cover the cost of the overhead of the school.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's going to be a tough pill to swallow for the board to, you know, immediately give up, say, 3 to 4% of our student population day one.
Mm-hmm. I think that our conversations and hopefully a partnership with you all to continue those conversations about where the school is located would help with that number. Looking at our 0 to 5 year budget, it is a tight margin for year one. And I think that we could go down in number, and it would also depend on our facility and land costs. We want our board to be financially responsible, viable, thriving. Our goal as an organization is that our local school board owns their building by year 3. Nationally, so far, every facility with our boards running them has done that successfully, which is great, except it does put that cash up front for them to have a higher number right away. So if it looked like a longer term plan for that local ownership and it worked for the board, our local governing board, as well as you all in a type 1 partnership, then those numbers could definitely change. To support the facility, I don't know by how much. We would have to sit and talk about it.
Okay, I have one more question. So that kind of opened up, and if we're all thinking out of the box and trying to work together, what if, and how does it work with your model if LPSS provided a facility, academic facility? Now, I understand that your model has specific athletic facilities, and I understand that that's an important part of your model. So let's maybe make a grand assumption that there's land that improvements can be made, or there maybe is a gym facility. But is there room for discussions if we wanted to turn over a facility owned by or land owned by LPSS?
Definitely not off the table. The renovation costs typically, in our experience, has been pretty high. And so our biggest job is to protect our local board and make sure that that school can thrive. And so yes, the conversation's absolutely on the table. I look forward to having it if we go down that path. I hope we do. But we would have to really look at the details in that. It would be great to be able to use a facility that's not currently being used. If it worked out for everybody involved, in our board could really thrive there, and our kids too. I think the biggest issue would be the whether or not the renovations would be allowable, given that it's a district-owned school. So I think that would be kind of the first step in the conversation, and then looking at the finances for our local board in partnership with what you all would need and what that would look like as a lease agreement or anything like that. That'd be a longer conversation, but we'd look forward to having it. Yeah.
Maybe you mentioned this earlier. I came in a little late. I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
How many schools do you have in the United States, and how long have you been in existence? And just kind of give me some information.
Sure. I actually didn't get to that earlier, so I can show you if you look on your screen. This is a list of our current facility partnerships. So we tried to make it an easy visual here, because every time we tell the narrative, it gets confusing. We started as a facilities solution for charter schools nationally. So since 2007, we've been in partnership for the facility itself, coaching those schools to own locally. In 2013, really 2012, we started the process of partnering with schools for Powered By, what we call Powered by Athlos. So as we've refined our Prepared Mind pillar, our Healthy Body and Performance Character pillars have been in partnership with other schools in Texas and existing charter networks in Minnesota since 2012. And then now we have the capacity now to have the full management services included. What's not shown here, if you look at the Texas schools, they're growing. Their charter networks have great expansion, and they want us to grow with them. And so the conversation of having all 3 pillars phased in for those Texas schools, plus adding more schools there in our management services is in the works as well. So we've kind of evolved with networks and now are opening our own schools. If you have other questions to clarify, I'm happy to answer them.
Assuming that you open public doors or for a facility on the part of the ground where we're talking about, I think it would probably attract a lot of the children from several schools at the point where we close the school. If you're able to attract the full complement. So my question is, would we be able to have capability of assigning a student to your school, or something along these lines through a rezoning project of our own?
Yeah, I know you're in the works of that, yeah.
Well, it would impact the process we're going through if all of a sudden the school is empty.
Right, which would be tragic. I think that the type 1 is the route to go for that relationship to be really healthy, great transparency, great communication to make sure that those kids really, at the end of the day, my understanding, and it would be up to Dr. Aguilar as well, but how that charter compact looks between us and a district as a type 1, all of those conditions are on the table for conversation. So whatever's best for the kids in this community, we will support and stand behind with you all, and that's kind of the bottom line. So I can't make promises of where it's going to go, and I don't think you can either, but we want to support your rezoning, we want to support facilities at hand, we want this partnership so that we are a part of that growth and change in the district with you. Yeah.
Mr. Hidalgo?
Yes, ma'am. You all mentioned one potential location a minute ago, yeah, but I think you mentioned that there are several options on the table. Of all the options on the table, what is the lowest you could go?
For the number?
Enrollment.
In a perfect world, if I were telling you my dream scenario here, working with a number, I think the lowest we could probably go, and if my boss is watching, it's probably, but I would say between 750 to 9 we could work with if a partnership for a facility or land, whether it's Holy Rosary or anywhere else, had some sort of financial impact great enough for our local board to not harm them in year 1 so that those kids can thrive. It would also depend on the at-risk population that we attract. We want a higher percentage of that. That's what we love to serve. That's where we're most successful if you look at our scores. And so it would really depend on what that enrollment looks like to see what those numbers are realistically going to be year 1 to be able to give you an actual student number. But we would like to work with that.
Any other questions? Yes, sir, Mr. Kennedy.
Regarding your board makeup, just from an initial glance, it looks like the board was primarily made up with the anticipation of being a type 2 because of the surrounding parishes. Would that change? Do you expect that to change considerably if you are approved as a type 1?
I'll let Skyra piggyback me on this one. Not literally. You're in a position where you could. If we were a type 1, I think we would absolutely build out the board. All of those members of our board are super involved in the Lafayette community, so we would want them to serve no matter what, and it would be building out a bigger board, which we would like to do anyway. I'll let Skyra share since she's our president.
So right now, currently, 6 of the 9 board members live here in the parish of Lafayette. And we do have the capabilities of expanding, and we're always looking for really dedicated and committed board members who want to serve, who have the passion that we have for the community. Does that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Your teachers, they're all certified teachers as well as they follow the same guidelines with public schools?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll give you a minute or two. We generally wait till there's a motion, but I'll give you a minute or two.
Hi, Ella Arsama. I'm a former parent in the Lafayette Parish school system. Athlos said that they have a three-pillar approach, one of them being the performance character. They have a proactive discipline approach, and they have counseling and student support staff. I'd like to know what makes Athlos different from the way Lafayette Parish school system currently handles discipline. And my other question would be, is parental involvement a requirement at the Athlos Academy? And another question would be, how exactly is Athlos planning on working with Lafayette Parish school system? And if y'all can let us know who your current board members are from Lafayette Parish.
So I'll start mostly because of the way my memory works with the end of your questioning in regards to parental involvement and how we would be supporting that in the community. Our organization takes great pride in the amount of work and effort we put in with the local boards that we work with. You know, in the case in Louisiana, you have a type 1 or a type 2. In other states, you have local charter authorizers. So the relationship with our authorizer really dictates the answer to a lot of those questions that you presented. But in terms of parental involvement, we have an entire team that's dedicated to each location that will be here for the 0 year to launch and train and work with parent groups. We like to train an Athlos parent board to work with our local board and with our authorizer. In this case, we hope for that to be the local district. Yes. Yeah, parent involvement. In the video, that's very normal for parents to be inside and outside of the classrooms. We want this facility, you know, and if we use a parish facility, that would be the same story too. Those doors are open, and our board and our local partnerships, wherever we physically put that school, is imperative to the success of those kids. And our teachers and leadership at that school are trained and continued professional development with us and with the local community as educators to make sure that they're welcoming those families in. We always want that. It's really hard to do if you're in classrooms often and if you've ever been a teacher, 12 years right here, and it is tough to get those parents really engaged, but we like to take our best practices and make sure that we provide that opportunity at any cost. It's important to the life of the community as a whole. Was one of the other questions that you asked?
How is your discipline?
And then how do we hope to partner with the district specifically, right? So I think that's kind of a two-folded answer, or one answer to both questions. Partnering with the local district as a type 1 allows us the ability to use contracted services with you all if appropriate. When we put things out to bid for our special ed services or anything else, we have in-house staff, but what we're doing should be shared practices with what you all are doing too. So currently we have not had to expel children in our schools because we try really hard to not have to go down that path. We provide homebound services for kids that are highly at risk. We provide interventions all day in the classroom. We change staffing models based on the need of that at-risk population in our schools. And we're really trying to be ahead of the game on those things. So in terms of discipline, I don't know that every educator has they have a need and a desire to help kids succeed. And so I think in your schools, that passion is there as well. I don't know that our way is better, but I would like to see that partnership with the district be available for shared services, not in a sense that we would give kids back. I think that's been a fear in some conversations, but in a way where we can utilize best practices to help each other. And in our schools, continue that goal of not having to hit an expulsion ever. Yeah. Do you want to add anything?
I would just say for those educators in the room, the physical activity piece is in itself a tier 1 intervention. I know what I was like when I was a youngster in class, and certainly I could have benefited and been to the principal's office a few less times if my teacher let me take some breaks and move around. So it really is a scientifically research-based practice, not only for academic achievement, but to reduce discipline referrals, the physical activity that teachers are trained to do in the classroom. It really, really helps. Concerning the 6 board members presently living in the parish, and one will be moving out of state. She received a job on the East Coast, but we have Stephen Bartley, Penny Genoso, Dr. Rosalind Gross, Susan Kahn, Ogden Petrie, which is our attorney, and Skyra Rito. Those will be the 6. Yes, ma'am.
I would appreciate if you would make more comments rather than a question and answer session, as we will have some more discussion on this tomorrow night. But you're welcome. And again, we're making an attempt to attend the adult ed graduation at 7 o'clock. Thank you.
Great. Yeah. Hi, my name's Ann Burris, parent of 2 Lafayette Parish School System children, and I have a question. I would like to know if Athlos builds a school here, will it be funded by the charter school fund? Will they pay their lease to them? What will the annual lease payments be? And who owns the school at the end of the lease payment time?
Mr. President.
Yes.
It sounded like more than one question. Is there any way we can get an email address to these ladies and gentlemen, so all the questions can be sent to them directly, as opposed to answering another 5 questions, and then we have to hear another presentation with another 10 questions?
I don't see why not. We could get an email and answer them all at once.
Sure. I can provide my card to whoever would like to follow up with specific Atlas questions. I'm happy to stay after and chat with you to answer that directly.
You can answer her since she asked it. Yeah, quickly.
Okay. Like I said earlier in the presentation, that our goal is always to have the local board and community own that school. So it's not a long-term investment. The social venture portion of Athlos Academy, which is the charter school fund that you mentioned, yes, it is a social venture model. So it's funded for the build. So typically we like to buy the land and build the facility. It's a multi-million-dollar investment. In that 0 to 5 year budget, we have a revenue stream coached by our management side, the management services, to make sure that that local board is able to take it out to the bond and own it. So by year 3, at the latest year 5, we want the local community to own that facility and school. Again, not a long-term investment, and happy to clarify more if you would like. Okay, did that hit all of the pieces? Ish? Okay. Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so you'll provide us with email addresses and we will make that public. Dr. Aguilar, we can, okay. Thank you.
If I dictate it, then is it on a record? Do you want me to do it that way or just provide it to you after?
Both. Won't you read it to us right now, put it on record and send it to us?
So my name again is Caitlin Scales, Caitlyn, Scales like fish, have lots of them. My email is cscales@athlosAcademies.org. We have it on record. Okay, thanks.
Yes.
Might I suggest that we collect these questions and let's read them tomorrow night so that the public can hear them?
Sure.
Okay. So prepare to answer them tomorrow?
No, email them to us.
Oh, beautiful.
Whatever you get.
Okay.
And Ms. Scales, as a person who grew up in the Chaplin Basin, there's at least one fish that has no scales. That's a catfish.
That's true. That's true. So most fish have
Most,
many of them.
virtually all, yeah. All right, thank you very much. And we would now listen to a presentation from JCFA, Lafayette Charter School application.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Millie Harris, Executive Director of JCFA, and I'm very delighted to be here this evening with our group. We will do the same thing and start with a video for you all. I hope that you enjoy what our students have to say.
If I had one word to describe JCFA, it'd be family.
It'd be family.
In that small family atmosphere.
I've never been to a school where I'm so close to every single teacher and all the faculty.
It is such a fulfillment, personal fulfillment, to see the growth in the kids and to feel that they are safe here, that makes you want to, I don't know, stay here at JCFA forever.
They care about
you. You have more of a personal relationship with the teachers. Like, when I graduate, I'm probably gonna cry because I'm gonna miss the teachers so much.
Many people that come here don't have that relationship at home where people want to get to know them and just care about their well-being.
And there was something about seeing all these students doing so much and then coming back to get even more for themselves and get their education. It's a really great place to be and a really great environment to be around.
Yeah, it's just good.
You have to want to succeed because nobody else can do your lectures and your quizzes and your tests for you.
You literally have to be motivated yourself. Like, if you're not going to do it, then why are you here?
It kind of forces you to grow up, I guess, and kind of get your stuff together.
Your effort determines your future.
So if you come here and you're just thinking, oh, it's just something to do, then you're not going to graduate. But if you come here and you know that you're going to graduate, you will succeed, and the teachers will make sure that you do.
My passion is to help the kids. I help them in any way I can.
The teachers do stuff way out of the way for students here compared to if, like, you went to a normal high school.
I was telling somebody yesterday that they asked what the strengths were of the organization, and I said that our staff, I mean, obviously I'm a little biased, but our staff is certainly a strength. Because we managed to get people who really care, and that sometimes is hard to do.
JCFA, to be honest, was the only place here in New Orleans that I found that was really, the teachers were really involved in their kids' lives.
The teachers in JCFA, they actually take the time to actually sit down and do the work with you. Go by each problem one by one and actually figure the problem out with you.
Like, they're just awesome. Like, they help you, they're there for you. They want you to graduate, they want you to move further on in life.
I don't feel like I'm falling behind, because if I am falling behind, my teachers will catch me and pull me back up.
We meet students where they are, instead of where society thinks that they should be.
We still have the same standards, we still have the same tests that our students have to pass, but how we get them to be able to achieve and succeed those things can come in a wide array of lessons. So we have an online curriculum, which is a great resource. It's called Edgenuity.
The great thing about Edgenuity is you can go in and you can edit what you want to be in the course.
It's around you, basically, around the student, if you could say.
I have the flexibility as a teacher to not use Edgenuity for everything. I can pull those students off to do labs, or we can do an offline lesson, or do remediation.
I can pause when I need to pause and take my notes, and it's just me going at my own pace when I'm ready.
We do have a year-round school, which is a little bit different also. 3.5-hour long school day.
It's a lot more free, like a lot more flexible with, if you have work.
A lot of our kids work, okay? They provide for themselves, so they need the flexibility to have to leave earlier to go to work.
We have lives outside of school. People have children that they need to look after.
Because I am a mother, the fact that I can pick my daughter up and I'm home for her is a really big selling point for me.
The schedule, you can't beat it.
To work at your own pace, it's like pretty much in your own hands when you're gonna, like, if you wanna graduate this year, you can graduate this year. You can do what you need to do to graduate. You control it.
At JCFA, at least every day, I'm given the opportunity to work with students to see them move forward.
I am most proud of is the kids that graduate, like to see how they came here. They come discouraged.
I didn't want to be all of this in my life when I went to regular school. But then I came here and I realized, like, I can do stuff on my own. Like, I don't need people to teach me. Like, I can look at a computer and look at a formula and do it.
I started in 8th grade I didn't take any 8th grade classes at all. So it's taking a 7th grader, I guess. And in about to be 3 years, I'm about to be a senior now.
Basically seeing them be able to thrive, that's a big reason why I keep doing what I'm doing. That keeps me going.
And oftentimes when they leave a traditional school and they come here, they still don't even realize that they're capable of completing their diploma. Maybe because for themselves or for other people in their lives, they've told them no so many times, that when you start to see kind of things change and for them to start understanding that not only can they graduate from high school, but they can go to college or they can have a career. You've been a part of that in whatever capacity that is. It's very rewarding.
You know where you're going in life. I know where I'm going.
So it's emotional for me. I've been part of JCFA from the beginning. I opened the first school in 2010 in Jefferson Parish as a Type 1. And we opened as part of research through the U.S. Department of Labor and the Multiple Education Pathways Grant. Looking at dropout rates in Jefferson Parish, the largest parish in the state, in 2007 through 2009 was losing 1,500 kids a year to dropouts, 7th through 12th grade. And Athlos is right. It's what happens in those early grades that dictates whether or not a student's going to make it through high school. So you begin losing students early on. We opened our first school in 2010 as a Type 1 in partnership with Jefferson Parish Public Schools. That contract ran through 2015 and was extended for the longest term that an alternative school can have in Jefferson Parish as a Type 1. So we're in our second contract with Jefferson Parish for another 5 years. Bessie approved us for a Type 2 in the greater New Orleans area, and we opened that school in 2013, and last year they approved us for a second campus site underneath that Type 2. So we're operating 3 campuses currently, serving just over 300 students. We're very excited about the opportunities that we provide students. We work with students who are overage and undercredited, students who have dropped out or who are in danger of dropping out. And we are based off of your former Lafayette Charter High School. We came here as part of our research through the MEPB grant, looking at national best practices for dropout prevention and recovery, and we were amazed at the progress that Lafayette Charter High was making with students who were in danger of dropping out, and we wanted to bring that back to our district. And so as a partner with Jefferson Parish Public Schools, we were able to create the highest performing alternative school in the state, and we've replicated that. And so I'd like to bring up Ms. Shawn Fleury, who is our Student Success Coordinator, to continue more about our program.
Thank you, Millie. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Shawn Fleury, and I am the Student Success Coordinator at JCFA's West Bank campus. I serve in multiple roles as a Student Success Coordinator. It includes acting as the school registrar, the school test coordinator, guidance counselor, as well as academic advisor. I say this in, I guess, an explanation to also that I'm also a mother. I have 6 kids. And because of the flexibility with our students as well as our school, I'm sometimes able to bring my kids to school when I need to. And so this allows me to mimic an example for our students that have children for themselves, that you are still able to be a mother and an educator as well. Over the past 4 years, I would say that JCFA has become a part of my heart and soul. And the reason why is primarily because of the students, that goes without saying, but also because of the mission and purpose of the school, which is to provide a learning environment that allows students the opportunity to develop their potential, to prepare students for post-secondary education and or the workforce, and to collaborate with community agencies, organizations, and institutions to meet the students' needs. JCFA re-engages and reconnects students who have been unsuccessful in the traditional school system. It increases the number of high school graduates and guides students to post-secondary education, training, and workforce opportunities, both during and after the enrollment. Right now, I'd also like to hand off to one of our board secretary, actually, Ms. Cameron Christie, who will give you some more information about governance.
Good evening, and thank you for having us. Having started my educational career in adult education, I will try and be mindful of your time because the graduation is the best part. Our governance, we have a board of governance. It sets the mission, the vision, the purpose, expectations, and the organizational policies for all JCFA campuses. We hire and review the executive director. We approve members of the community-specific governing committees, and we are composed of members from across the state. The community-specific governance committee ensures the Lafayette campuses are meeting the requirements of the charter contract, adhering to the JCFA model, also recruits and develops potential members of the committee, reviews all appeal requests from students or employees, and will be composed of members who live in Lafayette Parish and the contiguous parishes.
Our network administration includes myself as executive director. It also includes our director of data, research, and curriculum, Mr. Eric Hine, who will present some data in just a moment. Our director of resource and operations, which is our CFO, as well as in charge of our operations, and our assistant director in charge of talent development and recruitment, and our assistant director in charge of student support services. Our network administration acts as a district administration. We coordinate all the services, ensure that the folks at the campuses are doing the things that they need to do, and we rely on our campus-specific governing committees and our board of governance to ensure that resources are connected directly to the students. Our Type 1 campus has been able to save a very significant fund balance. Our Type 2 campus will also this year show a very significant fund balance. I am cheap. Honestly and truthfully, I do not spend money unless it's on the students. We do not have frivolous things. That is one of the processes that we go through, is ensuring that the students have everything that they need, and we keep the resources where they belong, and that's in the classroom with the students. And so we'll talk a little bit about what that looks like. But I'd like Ms. Shawn to speak to you all a little bit about the expectations that we have for not only our students, but for our faculty and staff and our board.
In keeping with the ideology of inclusion, ownership, and student accountability, our students played an integral role in creating or helping us to create the guidelines or the expectations for JCFA. JCFA's expectations are designed to support a culture of respect. They are simple, direct, yet powerful. They're be kind, follow directions, be prepared for class and school. Don't waste time, maximize your learning opportunities, wear appropriate attire, maintain a clean environment, be open and honest, and communicate your emotional, educational, and physical needs. And these are also things that our students should live by in general, not necessarily while they're just in school. So ultimately, we're trying to educate our students as a whole, not necessarily just while they're at school with us. Next, I will have Ms. Natalie East, which is our Chief Academic Officer for our JCFA East Bank campus, to give you some more insight.
Oh, flexibility. I didn't know I was talking about this, but I will. Hi, my name is Natalie East. I'm the Chief Academic Officer on the East Bank campus, the Type 2 charter. Flexibility is very important in our model. Our students come from backgrounds, they have barriers that make it difficult for them to be successful in the traditional school system. So we try to be as flexible as we can while maintaining the standards that we need to maintain in order to serve our students. That's really what it's all about. They have a half-day schedule, so the official schedule is from about 9:30 to 12:30. Students can earn flex time, something called flex time, through banking. And banking, right now, students can come in early in the morning for about an hour to get some work done. There's a teacher and a tutor on campus during that time, or they can stay late Monday through Thursday. And again, it's a time for them to get some additional help if they need it, and for them to continue to make progress towards that course completion, which is what we ultimately want. We also have a year-round calendar. And when we say year-round, we mean year-round. We're not lying. 237 academic days. We don't take very long breaks. And again, it's to provide that continuity of services to our students who have some very significant needs at times. The campus-based faculty and staff, I'm going to go off topic here a little bit because I know you can read it. I don't want to read this word for word. But what makes this model so successful, in my opinion, is the true dedication of our faculty and staff. I think Ms. Harris has done an excellent job of hiring people who are committed to the mission and the values of the campus, and they work very hard to give our students what they need to be successful. So you have everyone on that campus is working for one thing, toward one goal, and that's to make sure that that student is successful, that they complete the courses that they need to graduate, and that we get them well on their way to being successful once they leave us, whether it's career, college, whatever they want to do. That's really all I have to say. Who's next? Oh, Eric. There we go. I'm going to get there. Our Director of Data, Research, and Curriculum, Mr. Eric Hine.
Thank you, Ms. Natalie. Like Ms. Natalie said, I'm Eric Hine. I'm the Director of Data, Research, and Curriculum for JCFA. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the results that our outstanding faculty have been able to achieve with our students. And I think you saw a little bit of it in the video, but, and Millie touched on this, it's very emotional for all of us. We work tirelessly with our students, and they work for us. We go to bat for them, and they stand by us as well. And so I don't want to belabor these points, but these are our EOC results for all testers. As you can see, shows you the growth from 2010 to 2015. In Louisiana, students have to pass a high-stakes end-of-course exam. You guys all know this. And so this is a huge stumbling block for a lot of our students who come to us an average of 2 years behind in reading, greater than that in math. And we put the resources, like Millie said, with the students so that they're able to achieve. This is a result of using an online curriculum, as well as pulling students off to do intensive one-on-one remediation and small group remediation. And like Millie said, we're working with an at-risk population. One of the indicators for at-risk is low economic income, or economically disadvantaged status. And as you can see, we've increased those results for economically disadvantaged students as well. In the blue, you'll see the passing rates. In the red, you'll see the proficient rates. I highlight this because it's a point that I like to make. In the accountability structure in the state of Louisiana, schools gain points based on proficiency, but to graduate from high school, which is the ultimate goal of many of our students, schools don't gain points for passing scores. And so we focus on both. And as Millie touched on earlier, we are the highest performing non-traditional alternative school in the state, in large part because of the excellent work that our faculty are doing with students in the academic areas. And then I just wanted to show you how we would compare to Lafayette. I highlighted economically disadvantaged as well as minority students. These students tend to drop out at higher rates in Louisiana, but also across the country. And as you can see, JCFA schools are performing comparably well to many of your schools, underperforming for your highest performing schools. But we're doing very well with these students who are dropping out of school. And again, I'd like to make the point that the reason that happens is because of the phenomenal faculty and staff, academic supports and non-academic supports tying together to support the whole student. And I'm going to introduce one of our phenomenal teachers right now, Mr. Andrew Anglada, who teaches math on the East Bank campus.
So, as Mr. Hines said, my name's Andrew Anglada. I'm the math instructor on our East Bank campus, and I'm going to speak pretty briefly about our classroom model and instructional practices. So, each of one of JCFA's classrooms has between 20 and 22 computers, and in each one of those classes, not only do we have a teacher, but we also have a tutor. So that gives us about a 10-to-1 ratio of students to instructors, and that really provides our students with the one-on-one instruction that they need to be successful. Currently, each one of our campuses has 6 online-based classrooms. There's 2 math, 2 English, a social studies, and a science class. And in those classes, there can be a wide range of courses going on at any time. So I teach math. When I go in the first period, I can have students working on everything from pre-algebra to pre-calculus. And even the students who are working on the same class are not going to be on the same topic. So because it's a self-paced program, it usually means nobody's on the same thing. So you got to be able to move around. And also, when it comes to our tutors, as I said, we have a tutor in each class. And clearly our tutors are there for academic interventions and to help our students with any gaps that they may have in their education. But they're also there to be positive role models and to model positive behavior for our students. A lot of our students don't have someone in their personal life who is encouraging them to do the right thing and encouraging them to go to school every day and earn a high school diploma and make good decisions. So the more people we can have on our campus who are encouraging our students to do these things, the better. So our tutors are not just there for academic reasons. They're also there to just be someone that our students can make a connection with. And a lot of times it's another reason for them to come to school every day. You build relationships with these students and their attendance gets better. And then they start to do better in their courses. So everybody on our campus is there to build relationships with our students as well as help out academically. So the online curriculum that we use is Edgenuity. Edgenuity is a great online curriculum. They provide us with a wide range of courses. And in those courses, there's a lot of content. So they give us the ability to modify these courses for what we need and for what our students need. I can modify courses for each individual student if that's necessary. So an Algebra 1 course for one student may not be the same for another student depending on what their skill level is. What's my place? So a common misconception and something that I get asked a lot is people, when you tell them that you use an online curriculum, they think that restrains the teacher a little bit, that we have to follow that curriculum by what it is when it's provided to us, and that's not the case. We have as much control over our class as any other teacher in the state of Louisiana. If there's things in this curriculum that we're not comfortable with, we have the ability to change that and make sure that our students are learning what they need to know. When we enroll students in classes, we enroll them in 3 classes at a time. And each class that we enroll them in is designed to fit in a 4-month window. So that gives them the ability to earn 3 credits every 4 months or 9 credits in a year. That's dependent on their speed. We've had students who've earned 12 to 14 credits in a year. It usually comes down to how hard they work. Because we're there every day, like Miss Natalie said, we're there 237 days. We want them to be there 237 days. If there's no questions, I'm going to pass it on to Ms. Jordan Cook, who is going to talk about student success.
Thank you, Andrew. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jordan Cook. I am the student liaison at JCFA West, and a part of being student liaison, I help with the student support services. There we go. Along with our social worker and our special education coordinator. So at JCFA, we believe that all students, especially at-risk students, are able to achieve success academically. I will get that out. And we believe that with the right supports and with a positive school environment in which to thrive. That all begins with our first interaction with students. So each student that enrolls at JCFA must go through a pre-enrollment meeting where they will get a first glimpse into our school and what our school is all about. So it's our way of kind of getting to know a student and for them to get to know us as well. So we'll give them a campus tour along with going over their transcript and their credits and doing an anticipated graduation date. They will also receive their letter for orientation. So all of our students must also go through a 2-day mandatory orientation. Parents are invited to orientation where they will learn about their students' credits as well, and also go over all of our rules, policies, expectations, and then we go over our 4 A's, or what we like to call our formula for success, which involves attendance, attire, achievement, and attitude. So, not only do we want our students to be successful with JCFA, but also once they leave us. So part of what I do at JCFA, and probably my favorite thing that I do, is help students with transitions after high school. So I will help them with financial aid, with applying to colleges, with resumes. I will help them with career connections and college applications. We also do dual enrollment, CLEP, and IBCA as well. I think many of our students did not believe that they would graduate from high school or earn their high school diploma. So it is a real pleasure and the greatest feeling in the world to see them walk across that stage and earn their diplomas and also continue their education, whether that be going to college or even entering the workforce and helping give back to the community. So that is all I have. I'll give it over to Miss Millie. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Ms. Jordan. We are a homegrown organization. When I did the research that founded our first school, I was working for the Jefferson Chamber of Commerce and their 501c3 at the time. I am a product of public education in Jefferson Parish. I'm a product of a family who believes strongly in public education. After our school was opened in 2010, the school in my hometown was renamed after my grandmother. So I actually have a school that has my name because I have her name. So it's really kind of fun for us. But we're very passionate about the students that we serve. We serve students who have been underserved in traditional schools. We serve students who are not successful in traditional schools, and we help them achieve not only the milestone of being a high school graduate, but we help them earn that self-respect that they have lost because they have not previously been academically capable. And we're asking you all to approve our application so that we have the opportunity to partner with you. We've had a wonderful partnership in Jefferson Parish. We work very well with our district. In fact, we work so well that we are legitimately located right next door to the administration building. We've had 2 administrators send their children to us to graduate after their children had dropped out of high school. We had the very first Act 833 student graduate from the state of Louisiana graduated in our school. So we support students of all needs and disabilities, and we do a very phenomenal job. We have a lot of good interaction with our community and with our parents. And we wanted to come to Lafayette because we were inspired by Lafayette Charter High, because we know that Lafayette is one of the top 5 largest districts in the state and also has one of the highest number of dropouts every year. Looking at the schools on the north side of Lafayette, specifically looking at your economically disadvantaged students and your minority students. Those students are being underserved, and there are a variety of reasons why they're being underserved. Any student who comes from a poor community needs additional resources. It's fact. It doesn't matter what city you live in. But if you are coming from a home where books aren't present, if you're coming from a home where your parents are working multiple jobs, if you don't have the same direct instruction at home that the rest of us do, that those of us who are not fighting poverty have had in our past, you are going to have a deficit in your education. And we help provide those students with those resources. Our faculty and staff go above and beyond, and we provide them with the opportunity to do so. We will pick a student up and drive them to school. We will provide students with car seats for their children when they have children and they don't have a car seat. We've helped provide students with the opportunity to go to driver's ed so that they're not driving without a license. We do what we need to do to help our students graduate. About 35% of our students matriculate to college immediately after graduating, the first semester afterwards. Closer to 50% matriculate to college within 2 semesters of graduating. We support our kids, and we would like to have a partnership with you as a district to do that here in Lafayette. I know that you all are considering applying as a Type 4, and I understand you all had a wonderful school. Again, Lafayette Charter High is what we based our model off of. As a district, you don't actually have to have a charter to serve these students. You can just serve these students. We would love to partner with you. A benefit of having a Type 1 is that the students come off of your roll, come off of your count, come off of your SPS score. They come to us. Your high schools won't have them, we'll have them. We can help them graduate. We would like to have this partnership with you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, members of the board? Yes, sir, Mr. Centeni.
Ms. Harris, much the same as the Athos Academy. One of the ways that we may be able to justify financially this type of charter is to close our existing exiting pathways program, plus any, I know the superintendent has mentioned there's a segment of the former charter high school that still exists at MP Moss Prep. How would we have the ability to assign students to your school, or would they have to have already dropped out? How would we direct students so that you can serve them?
So what we have done in the past with Jefferson Parish is Jefferson Parish does not place a student at JCFA, and it's not your traditional model. And I would tell you that when students come in because it's what their mama wants or what someone other than the student wants, they're not successful. You have to be committed. You have to be committed if you're going to come to school 237 days out of the year. You have to be committed if you're going to work through an online curriculum supported by faculty and tutors in your classroom. So we request that you do not assign students, but I would also tell you, I don't foresee the need for you to close anything. You have roughly 900 students a year who drop out. Our enrollment is 57% of our students have been out of school for 6 months or more. So I would imagine that 75 of my 150 kids are going to be students who were not enrolled in your public school for your February 1 count. They're going to have dropped out somewhere between October and February. And so I don't see where we would be taking students out of your current schools. And again, it's most important that the students who enroll with us want to be there. They have to be committed to their education. And the misnomer is that students who drop out are not committed to their education. They normally have not found the right space to be successful. And when they are given the opportunity to be successful, they thrive, they flourish, they do what they need to do to be good members of our community. So we would request that we would have the opportunity to do an open enrollment where students would apply, where they would go through that initial interview, and they choose us. We don't choose them. They choose us. If they apply and they want to come, we take them. But we want them to want to be there, because that's the only way it's going to work. If our average age is 18, which it is in Jefferson Parish, you've got to want to do it. If you're a young adult, you have to want to do it, because your mom is already out of the house or your dad is already out of the house by the time you have to come to school. If you're not committed to come, you're not going to do it. So we want it to be a student choice.
You sure?
Location?
We have not identified a specific location. We would like to be located on the north side of Lafayette. Because we have a different model, we don't need a school building per se. We have been in a variety of different facilities in Jefferson Parish. We currently are located on Delgado's Technical College campus. We were previously located in the UNO professional building on Causeway, and we now have a campus that is in a traditional school building. But we can be relatively anywhere that's got 12,000 square feet of space. So we would want to work with the district to determine what is the best area of the community for us to move into, and we would move in pretty quickly into whatever space we needed to. And we're very confident that we'll find the right space, because we don't need this whole big building that everybody else needs. We can even be in an office building. That's what the UNO professional building was an office building. So we were on the 4th floor, and we were working with a bunch of nonprofits on the other 3 floors, and it was perfect. Our kids did exactly what they needed to do. They saw professionals every day, and being in a non-traditional space is actually preferred, because the students don't feel like they're overage. They don't feel like they're in the same environment they were previously in. So we prefer to be in a non-traditional space.
Mr. Konieczny, did you have a question? Ms. Morrison?
Do you have any testimonies for students that went on to higher ed and how they're doing and what their experience was, and after high school?
Sure. If I could get to my Facebook, I would pull up a picture of one of our students who was selected as the top member of her sorority at UNO this last semester. We have students who earn TOPS Tech. We have students at UNO, students at LSU, students at Nichols, students at Delgado, students at Nunez. I don't have any testimony with me today, but I can tell you that we have lots of students who go on, and we try to prepare our students. You'd ask Athlos about their teacher certification, and I'll be very honest with you. Only about 60% of our teachers are certified according to the state of Louisiana. Our whole English department is not certified. However, they have taught at the college level for 15 years each. So they do not hold a teacher certification. They hold a master's in they hold an MFA, a Master's in Fine Arts, and they have taught English at the college level for 15 years. So they teach our kids the skills that they need to go on to college and write at the college level. So that's part of the reason why we look to those non-traditional teachers, is because they have a little bit of a different feel, especially teachers who've taught on the college level with students who have needed remedial courses at the college level to really prepare these students for that post-secondary experience.
Would you give us your email address, ma'am?
Yes, I would be happy to. You can either email me at info@jcfa.co, but my personal email address is Millie, MILLIE, .Harris, HARRIS, @jcfa.co.
Thank you very much. And you would, of course, appreciate any questions, and we'll answer them if
I would be
they
happy
come in
to, absolutely.
from the email. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Yeah, send them to the email address.
Oh, sure. It's Millie, MILLIE, .Harris, HARRIS, @jcfa.co. And I'll be here for the rest of the meeting. I'm happy to talk to you, and I'll be spending the night in Lafayette and here all day tomorrow. So happy to meet and talk with anyone.
And we will have more discussion when we have a motion, to accept or reject your application. I want the audience to know that. We will have more discussion upon a motion. I want to just make one quick comment about the parish over there. I frequent that parish from time to time. There's a great little Italian restaurant across the Huey P. Long Bridge that accepts only cash.
Mosca's. Know it very well.
I would say, Mr. Angel, that when you say the parish, you're not typically talking about Jefferson.
Well, and we have some folks who are from the parish. We have a few folks who live in St. Bernard Parish, so we get both.
That's what I thought you meant.
All right, we'll move on to the next item on our agenda, which is a LPSS application to Bessie for a Type 4 charter. I'll turn that over to you, Dr. Aguilar, unless you have someone else.
Yes, sir. Thank you. You are correct that the Lafayette Parish school system had a very effective charter school. It opened in 1999 and closed unexpectedly in 2011. There were 13 years of existence of the Lafayette Charter High School in Lafayette. During that time, 766 students received their high school diploma. It averaged about 58 students per year. We do have two programs in the district, the Connections program and the Exiting Pathways program. You know that we are doing everything we can to address the overage population in the school system. We're poised to begin offering extended day in lieu of retention. We also are interested in reducing that population by providing better services to those students. The Exiting Pathways program in the district served this year 398 students. So it's a large population of students. The staff and I believe that it's an appropriate time for the board to reconsider reopening Lafayette Charter School. We are in conversations with the Department of Education. They have given us approval to submit a Type 4 charter application to BESI no later than June 10. So the staff will be working next week to put together our own application to BESI. We'll be coming to you tomorrow night with asking your permission to submit that Type 4 application on behalf of the Lafayette Parish School System.
Thank you, Dr. Aguilar. Any questions, comments? All right, that's the last item on the agenda. I'm going to declare this meeting adjourned.